What?
Welcome to the Gooners podcast for the second time today. The first time today was an embarrassing situation where I expressed a lot of angst and concern about our lineup today. And, you know, it must be said, I don't know the first fucking thing about football. So I don't know why, you know, if you tuned in to my preview and took anything from it, it should be that I'm just an idiot. And right, Fredo?
The funny thing is, I think you would have been in the majority after that lineup got announced.
I thought it was a popular stance to be upset about Willian, and it was a popular stance to be like, what the hell's going on with this rotation? But like, I should have known that every time you think something's good with Arsenal, it isn't, and every time you think something's not good with Arsenal, it is. So I would like to say, and this is for the 20 some odd people who strangely saw my tweet this morning and acted on it. I said before the game that if Willian were to get an assist or a goal today, and we won, and you retweeted my tweet before he got the assist or the goal, and you subscribed to the channel, lots of hoops to jump through. But if you were to do that, I would buy you a Willian jersey, or I will pick a winner to buy a Willian jersey for. And I meant it. And for some reason, like 20 or 21 people, I think, before the free kick, because you had to get it in before the free kick, 20 or 21 people retweeted. I'm going to have to go back and check to see who signed up for the channel or not, because, you know, rules are rules. But if you did, I'm sending you a kit. Now, the kit that I'm sending you is going to be from China, or India, or one of the other places, because, you know, I'm not spending $120 on it. But
no, I will. Not on a Willian kit.
I will do whatever I have to do to get you that kit, because to me, I've rescued Willian's career. I've rescued Arsenal's treble chances this year, because we're winning the treble. I mean, I don't even know what the third competition is, but we're going to win it anyway. Europa, Premier League, we're going to win clearly at this point, and I think the third one will be the
clearly City's going to have, you know,
the cup winners, the whatever the thing is, that the thing that's always in Dubai,
the Super Cup,
the Super Copa, yeah, Super Copa.
Yeah, Super Cup, like, yeah.
By the way, I'd like to
win the Europa League.
Yes, I mean, because once we win the Europa League, the rest is obvious. I'd like to welcome to the podcast for the first time in many months my good friend Fredo from New Orleans. It's bright, it's early, and you're bright, but you're not early.
No,
and it's good to have Fredo back. And this is an open forum, so we're putting in the chat the link to join us. This is not the link to watch us. This is the link to join us. And if you've ever wanted to join us, and I don't know why you would, this is the time to do it. So can't guarantee that I'm going to click on you, but like, come on into the waiting room. We'll have you on. This is really just kind of like a ploy to get the Bulgarian Gooner on our podcast, because he's only made one face. He's only made one face reveal so far in his life, as far as I know. And it was for someone who is not only more knowledgeable than I am, but much better looking than I am. And so if he does it on this podcast, yes, I will come across as someone who is copying someone else, but I would still enjoy that. So Drago, if you're feeling it today, come on in. And that goes for anybody else in the chat as well. Julian, that goes for you. Mikey Hers, that goes for you, even though I already know what you look like. And yes, Drago, I absolutely want this. I want to hear your thoughts about today. I want to hear your views about today. I'm about as happy as I can be, but I understand that there's not everyone's buying into this as much as I am today. So Let's start with Fredo. How did you feel? I mean, lineup comes out at 5 a.m. for you.
Right.
Were you awake when the lineup came out? And if so, did you just go back to bed after you saw it?
No, I actually set my alarm for like 5:30 because I was like, there's no way I'm getting up at 5. But I did get up. I did see the lineup, and I went, oh. It's not like there was one change. I mean, you figure there'd be a couple of changes. You figure, okay, some of the players who just really went all out in Athens were gonna get a rest. But then you've seen Pepe's on. Okay, it's all right. Willian starting, and David Luiz is starting, and you're like, okay, yikes. So I was like, okay. At some point, you kind of just go, fine, whatever. We got to get this match done. You retweet the lineup and you go to bed and fall back asleep and then wake up at 6 a.m. to kind of watch the match and just hope you're getting a good stream.
Well, here's someone who woke up at 2 p.m. for the game today. Drago, the Bulgarian Gooner, man. It is nice to put a face with a name, even though I've already seen your face and I'm very scared by it. Welcome to the Gooners podcast, Drago. It's nice to have you on.
Thanks. FYI, excuse the hard Eastern European accent.
I wish I had an Eastern European accent because then, I would have an excuse for being weird to people. But like, I love it. And I also love how you look to the side every time you start talking. I noticed that on Jess's podcast that every time you start having a point and you look to the side, which is it's very like it makes your thoughts seem more important. So keep doing that. And Drago, take us through when you saw the lineup, when you saw the goal go in after 7 minutes, and then what you thought afterwards. I mean, like, what's your thought process throughout this morning? Let's have it.
Well, that's really interesting because I missed the first 15 minutes actually of this game. So I didn't.
You lazy son of a bitch.
Go.
But that's not a bad plan in terms of dealing with Arsenal.
Yeah, so I started watching 16 minutes in, and we played really good today.
He saw a 3-0 win.
Exactly.
Yeah, as far as you're concerned, a 3-0 win. So you had the luxury of. Well, so when you woke up, were we down 1-0 or was it 1-1 already?
What time do you think?
You said you woke up late. I don't know what the hell you did.
Well, I woke up early. I was busy doing work. What was the question?
This is so on brand for our podcast, by the way. The question was, did you see the lineup before the game started? And then you start talking about how late you woke up. So I don't understand.
We're 15 minutes in and straight watching the game.
So you woke up 15 minutes into the game. We're losing 1-0 already. Is that what happened?
No, I was doing work at my house.
Okay.
I was late for the game is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Okay. Maybe I'm thick. And that's true. So by the time you started watching the game, we were already losing 1-0.
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't have time to react to the lineup, and you saw that we were already losing 1-0. Did you almost just go back to bed?
No. Let's be honest here. My expectations until the end of the season are really lowered. So I'm not trying to overreact over every goal we can see during games. So I was thinking, you know what? Let's see just how this goes. Then we started, from the moment I started watching, we were already, I think, we saw a reaction after the goal.
For once, I mean, like, how many times have we gone behind early in the game, and it's just like you just know. After 7 minutes of this game, I have to say, I mean, and I'm not the most pessimistic person in the world. I'm probably irrationally optimistic lately for whatever reason, but I thought this was going to be 4-0. like to Leicester. I was devastated when we gave up that early goal because I'm like, we are not set up with this lineup to come back. We were set up for 0-0 the whole time with the starting lineup, and then all of a sudden we're down in 7 minutes, and I the last thing I saw was a resilient comeback from us. So Fredo, what was different about the squad today that allowed us to actually come back? Because after we conceded the goal, we had the bulk of the possession, and it was more than likely said that they would let us do that because they knew that they could beat us on the counter. And so that the fact that we had the possession wasn't great in and of itself, but it actually turned out that we were dominating. We weren't just playing into their hands. We were actually dominating.
See, and I wonder how much you're going to say this was us responding, to whatever they were doing, and more Leicester. Let's be fair. They're having the kind of injury crisis that normally happens to Arsenal at this time of the year. You clear the January transfer window, and then all of a sudden key players start dropping like flies, and you're like, okay, we're having to start kids, and we're having to start the backup to the backup. So you figured that in this match particularly, they were not going to come out at us. They got the early goal. Probably, if you got told Brendan Rodgers, blow the whistle right now, full-time whistle, he would have been like, please, and be happy with it. But the fact that they scored so early meant they were basically in defend mode for the bulk of the match for 84 minutes, and that was just too much. That was just too long. You can't concede that much possession for that much of a period unless you have a great defense, and they don't because so many other good players are out. So they were hoping to hit us on the counter. It just didn't work out for them that way. At some point, it switched, like you're saying, from, they're letting us have it to, no, we're keeping it and we're attacking them. I think between the first goal and the end of that first half, we just turned it up another level. They just couldn't go.
That is, the realization hit eventually that we were not being lured into a false sense of security, but we were actually taking the game over. And we haven't felt that in a while, but I think that became quite obvious maybe 30, 35 minutes into the first half. And then that goal comes in the end of the first half. That first half was basically the anti-Arsenal, because we might normally go up early or at least have the front foot early, and then just totally fall apart in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the first half. And it was the opposite. Welcoming into the podcast somebody who has not been on this podcast for maybe 4 years, but has been a supporter since the beginning, Rob Ford.
Rob!
What is up,
how's it going?
Robbie,
y'all.
One of the rare people that I've actually known and loved since before this podcast started. My buddy Rob Ford, Rob Bass on Twitter.
Rob, Doom Scroll FC now. But
Doom Scroll FC, which is a reference
so
that I don't
positive.
get. So Rob, first of all, say hi to Drago. Drago's here. We all want to know what you're looking at when you look off screen, by the way, Drago. Is there like another are you doing another podcast with the camera off on the right?
Yeah, I'm watching some other podcasts, yeah.
She's
go good.
Yeah. There's 3 other podcasts, and whenever he looks over to the right, it's something more interesting than what we're talking about. But Rob, you're I know you really, really well. I know that you like to be happy, but that you often are not when it comes to Arsenal. Did you at what point did your feelings today turn from like dread and misery to, my God, I love Arsenal? When did that happen for you? Was it during the game, before the game, or has it not happened yet?
No. No. There's some good vibes that go around with the team lately. We've definitely been on a streak of sorts. Bringing up the whole control of the game. I'd say the second half. I was I was pleasantly surprised by like how well we held off all the pressure that they were putting upon us. And I admit, being the insomniac I am, I popped in a bit late after sleeping in, but no, I mean, just looking at the second half, holding it up, holding them off, and then having the fortitude, even in the first half, to like take the game right back to them after a setback was pretty impressive. I mean, they're has some I've had some angst, up and down angst, with this team, but I mean, I think the way things are going, like if we can sustain a run in the right direction, that will be obviously highly beneficial to us.
What I'm
moves
hearing
up a few spots.
What I'm hearing is that you're not as into Arsenal as everybody else, because you would have woken up 2 hours before I woke up 6 hours before the game, because I am dedicated AF, and I wanted to make sure that I had all the proper Red Bull and drinks before the game started. But not every look, Rob, I love you, but not everyone could be me, right? So that's good. Rob, I've met Rob at 4:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning at the pub many a time. So you're entitled to that. We got
tell that to my job.
We got Nilesh in the chat saying Mike is Nostra Mike. I prefer Mike Stradamus for calling Willian on the first team. Not only did I call Willian on the first team, but there's a giveaway that's going to occur. Someone is winning a Arsenal Willian shirt today. I don't know why you would want that, but someone's going to win it, because before the game I said, if he gets an assist or a goal and we win, and you subscribe to the podcast and you retweet the tweet. I mean, there's like 84 different things that you had to do, but if you did that, then I'm getting you a Willian shirt. Not everyone, but I'm picking one person to get a Willian shirt, and that apparently happened today. And so I will be getting a Willian shirt for somebody. And Daniel Robert is one of like the 17 people that are in that category, and I hope it goes to him because he finally followed us on Twitter today. But if I have to give away a shirt of a shit Arsenal player who should never have signed for Arsenal in the first place, and we get a win each time, then I'm going to do that. And you're welcome. Okay, right, Fredo?
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, for the next game, I'm gonna. I mean, are there any other players that I could? I mean, Pepe. I mean, who else do I need to like rejuvenate their career for Arsenal? I mean, Callum Chambers might be the only one I think at this point. But like, if Chambers gets a goal or an assist in the next game, then I'm going to buy you the team, not just the shirt, but the team. Fredo, you're man of the match today. I think there's maybe three people, and two. I said this already on the on the Bearded Gooners post game show, which I was on today. I've got three man of the match people, and only one of them was actually on the pitch today. Mm-hmm. But I want to hear you guys first, and then we'll go around the horn. Fredo, what do you think? And if anyone's in the chat and wants to join in, we're gonna try to circle some people around. So I'm putting the link to join us in the chat. If you want to get on camera, you just got to be on camera. And if you want to have your say, come on in and we'll join. We'll do it. Fredo, who's your man of the match today?
Kind of hard not to say Willian. I mean,
really,
2 assists.
Is that? I mean, the assists. Okay, the when I think assist, I think of what Saka did the other night with Aubameyang's first goal.
Right.
When I think of Willian's assist, he's got 3 now in the last 2 games. I mean, one's a free kick, one was deflected by the defense, and one was a kind of like just a blank, flat pass to somebody who did the rest of the work. I'm not trying to take the credit away from Willian. I think, but like,
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Are you giving that to him because he was so much better than you thought he would be, or because he actually was the man of the match for you?
No, actually, he was better than I thought he was going to be because I was expecting nothing out of him. But given his contributions in this match, where he's making stuff happen, he's creating stuff, he's putting his teammates in positions to have success. That's all I want for him to do. Today was the kind of game where I go like, can you do that every match or most matches you get thrown onto the pitch? Because Arsenal crave players who can be creative and attacking, forward thinking. We got plenty of players who can move a ball around the middle of the pitch and do nothing. We need players who can go forward and make and challenge defense, the defenders, and make stuff happen. And what's weird is so often Willian is the first category. Today he was the latter, and we were the better for it. So that's why I went with him. Rob,
man of the match for you.
Yeah, I got to go with Fredo on this one. As the man's biggest critic, I've been as impressed with his run of play lately. Fredo brought up a good point about putting teammates in position. Putting the ball in the right place. If he could contribute that way with a little bit of energy, every time he's out on the pitch, then that's again all we could ask of him. And I think Daniel in the chat brought up Pepe. That would be the other guy. If I were to do this hockey style,
first star, second star, third star.
Yeah. First, second, third star. Third star would be like Luis for getting that goal. Then second star Pepe, and then like the top star would be Willian. I think in hockey. So,
Drago, unmute yourself and let us know. Are you on the Willian train as much as these guys? Because I think he had a good game, but I'm not ready to like crown his ass at this point. But who's your man of the match?
He's definitely a candidate for man of the match, but for me it was Pepe because he absolutely tormented Leicester City's fullback. Thomas was his name, right?
I don't care what his name is. I don't give a shit what his name is.
Oh, God, yeah. Castagna, yeah.
It doesn't matter what his name is. In the words of The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going with Pepe then?
Yeah, I watched 65 minutes, but for those 65 minutes, I think Pepe was consistent. And even if when they changed Ricardo to left back, Pepe was doing well against him too.
Let me ask you something. Pepe today, first of all, let me just say, of the three people that I want to call man of the match, Pepe's the one that actually played. One of the other ones is the coach, and the other one is someone who didn't play today. And by not playing today was man of the match. I'll get into that in a minute. But Pepe is my man of the match today. He was insane. And what I think he's taught us is that it isn't so much that he's awful on the right. It's that he's awful on the right when someone's behind him. And today, and Daniel Robert, who might have possibly learned this from what I said on the other podcast that I was on a few minutes ago, Pepe on the right has not been good this season. Pepe on the right with Bellerin behind him, which has pretty much been all the time, has been diabolical. And there might just be something to the fact that the man behind you. I mean, I remember the year that Alex Iwobi's first season with us was, or first season in the Premier League was not bad, and Nacho Monreal was just unbelievable. The following season, Iwobi was just off. And Monreal was terrible. And it's that I mean, I've never been trained enough to look at the fact that the two people who are linking up on the sides, that matters. Bellerin and Pepe does not work. Cedric and Pepe maybe might work. Because Pepe was on the right today, which drove me absolutely crazy. I mean, to see Willian in the starting lineup and then to watch the first 5 minutes and see that Willian was on the left and Pepe was on the right, it did my head in.
Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I class Cedric and Bellerin in the same class. I don't think one is highly better than the other. Maybe the communication between Bellerin and Pepe is not as good. I can give you that, but I don't think there is that much of a difference who's at right back. considering Pepe?
Well, I mean, I think we're probably learning a lot about that. I mean, you know, it's a fair opinion, and I don't know that we've had a lot of sample size of seeing Pepe on the right without Bellerin. I mean, it's mostly been Bellerin, but
You can see why people that way.
It's me trying to find a way to understand how Pepe's been so bad on the right and so good today, and for that he's my man of the match. He was, I won't say unplayable, but he looked so up for it today, and you know, Aryan Pepe today from the right side, which is all I could ask for him. Fredo's ready to get in with that.
No. Actually, I was going to agree with you, but no. Regarding Pepe, I mean, Pepe is still. We hang his price tag above his head, but the fact of the matter is, he's still a very young player who's adapting now to his second full-time manager at Arsenal with a different system. So we sometimes can be a bit too quick to dismiss when players don't hit the ground running. But there is something. I mean, I would agree 100% with you regarding that. There is something to the partnerships. Pepe on the left looked way better than Pepe on the right because he was partnering with Tierney, and Tierney does so much for his side.
And the way for a few of those games, he might have actually been partnering with Cedric, but that's the whole point.
But that's the point. Yeah, he somebody, you know, if you get a simpatico relationship, a relationship where, you know, the forward knows where to play the ball, it makes things a heck of a lot easier. It's one of the things that where Saka is, you know, who wasn't on the pitch today, but that's what makes him so great. He partners up great with whoever you put next to him. You put him on the left, you put him on the right, you put him at fullback, you put him up top. He partners up well with whoever he's with. Pepe doesn't seem to have that skill, or maybe it's not as developed with him, where he needs to have the right partner. Maybe Bellerin isn't it, which doesn't mean either one of them is bad. It just means when the time comes, okay, maybe Bellerin starts, you put Pepe on the left with Tierney, and you put somebody else on the right, maybe like Saka with Bellerin to offset those limitations.
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen, but there's. I think the narrative that we're seeing now is that I think it's going to end up hurting Bellerin. I think it's going to be an interesting thing, and let's not let that destroy Bellerin, because we don't let PSG find out that he sucks. Okay, because I mean, he doesn't suck, but like, I mean, we need to start turning these players around, and I think Bellerin is not the future of Arsenal. We need to get a little bit more cutthroat with that.
Have you read the rumors about Bellerin that last summer he spoke to Arteta and he promised him, please stay this season, and next season if there's an offer for you, we will consider it.
Please, I mean, if there's an offer for him this summer, and the offer is more than 15 million, does anyone here Rob? Do you not take that?
I mean, yeah, you take what you can get. I mean, as far as Bellerin goes, I mean, I think I mean the big factor with him is that the injuries have just flat out devastated his career in terms of like his movement, where he feels comfortable like on the pitch, the types of runs he feels comfortable making on the pitch. So I mean, at this point, I mean, I think probably a change of scenery might be the best thing for his career at this time. And you know, yeah, you brought up chemistry and partnerships earlier, Fredo. Yeah, it's hard for him to partner with folks when he doesn't have necessarily the confidence to jibe with like whoever he's out there. I mean, and the confidence is not I'm a bad player type thing. Again, he's tentative because, you know, his movement has been off because of the injuries he's had in his career. So, yeah, I mean, I think you take what you can get for him.
I look, I don't want to claim that we're slagging Bellerin like he's a bad player or whatever. No, we have to kind of acknowledge the reality that in some ways the game has shifted in the last few years, where before the fullback was kind of where you stuck the guy you didn't have a position. Fullback now is a specialized, very actively involved position in the game. the top players, the top teams, put really expensive, talented players at fullback because they're expected to help partner the guys up ahead of them, create overloads, avoid the congestion that happens in the middle. So Bellerin used to be great for that before his injuries robbed him of his burst of speed. So he might see, Bellerin might still be finding himself right now, but it kind of puts him at a disadvantage when the comparisons to him are now guys like Trent Alexander-Arnold or Andy Robertson.
Cal Cancelo.
Right. And, is he like that? That's going to make a lot, it's going to do a lot to make him look bad. But that doesn't mean he's a bad player. It just means he might not fit what we want to do.
So Sophie from the Highbury squad, I hope she's still awake enough to join us in the actual pod. But 6 changes. Everyone talks about Leicester injuries, but we had no Saka and Aubameyang. Only came on with 10 minutes to go. Leicester lauded all season. This was a huge win. It absolutely was. And look,
massive.
You if you've been watching Sophie all season, she's been very critical, and rightfully so. Understandably so. She's been very critical of what we've seen. And what I love about it is that she can come off of a game like this. Now, I would have loved to have watched her post-game show today, but I was actually doing one on a different podcast. But you just have to react to what you see. You have to react to what you think is going to happen, and then you have to react to what you see afterwards. Leicester City's been the dark. Leicester City and West Ham and Aston Villa been the darlings all season, and people forget they've had the benefit of no Thursday games, with the exception of Leicester City. They've had the exception of no injuries, really, with the exception of Leicester City. and there are always going to be teams that play above their station and are in the top 5 or 6 with 10 games remaining, and there's always a top 6 team that's going to be 10th. And this season, it's deservedly us.
Leicester's still 3rd. We beat the top 4 side today.
We don't lose every game that we play against the top 6 anymore. I'm sorry. The games that we have lost, we've lost to City twice by 1 goal. We lost to Leicester by a goal or 2. Actually, I think it was 3-1. But that game, if you watch that game, you know that we had every right to be in that game. With
the Wolves disaster.
Sadio Mane getting a fucking elbow into our face and all that, I don't feel like this. We've been so close this season to a much better outcome. Wolves, God damn it! Don't get me started on that Wolves game.
Game, please.
I don't want to be the master excuser, but our 9th place or 10th place, or whatever it is right now, is really, really harsh on us. And so, again, Soph, I love to see you enjoying the win. It's nice to see you positive. Not to say that you're not normally, but there's nothing negative to say about today, other than the fact that you could say, "Where was this before now?" But why are we going to get so hung up with that? Go, Rob.
Again, the whole, the margins, that separate us from the other sides and, the top 4 sides. Really, this season in the Prem has been just, it's been heavily influenced by luck, by injuries, by a whole bunch of X factors that are, driving the Leicesters and the Villas and other sides up the table. We've just had some unlucky moments. The Wolves thing being, one of the primary things. And some other matches, not, having City jump on top of us early as opposed to us pressing them up for a bit, and then
Rob,
getting in that match. But a lot of it's there's a lot of luck involved in this year's Prem season specifically. So
Rob, you know me better than almost anyone in the entire Arsenal Twitter sphere. Longer, better, harder, wetter. All right. you know that I've never loved like adopting the whole, the referees are against us, the luck's against us, it was blah blah blah. Like I've never believed in that until this season.
Really?
I have always said, like, I can count for you situations, and it's funny because today I almost feel differently. We scored a goal against Burnley at Gooner Drago, Fredo. My first Gooner Drago that I went to, we scored a goal against Burnley to win the game where Lauren Koscielny basically volleyed the ball into the goal with his hand. All right, and then we scored a goal the next time we played Burnley, where it was a little less dubious, but it was like a penalty in like the 98th minute. We've had some calls that go our way. And I just think people forget about those sometimes. And it's like, oh, we would have finished third instead of sixth because of all the referees and the bullshit. And I've always fought against that because I'm like, we should be good enough to rise above all these things. It shouldn't matter. I'm a law of large numbers guy. I'm like, if you point to two things that went against us, there's two things that might be like months apart from that went for us. This season, I don't feel that way at all. This season, it's been like every goddamn thing has gone against us. And to the closest that I've actually seen of getting a good, fortunate piece of luck was the handball today. Like, that was a handball. And if Pepe's foul wasn't a penalty and that wasn't a penalty, that would have been absolutely hard done. That we would have been way hard done by. But, like, to get one out of the two of those is probably pretty equal. And to answer that question, we're bringing in Soph.
I heard you were serving Bloody Marys, so I'm here.
I'm serving bloody everything. I'm serving bloody wine, bloody beer. Sophie.
Bloody attitude.
Did you hear the question?
I did not. I went to make a fresh coffee in my Twister mug. There was nothing about today's performance, that's for sure.
I can't believe it's only 8:15. I mean, I feel like I've been up for 4 days in a row, and it's only 11:15 here. It's only 8:15 for you. So I'm saying with the decisions, with the VAR, with the penalties, and all that, like we haven't had a call go for us all season, and then we had two today, one of which went for us, the other one went against us. Are we aggrieved or are we good?
I think today VAR got it right. I mean, thank God we're not Brighton fans because yesterday was a debacle of the highest order. I feel for Brighton fans. It's kind of crazy, some of the decisions that have happened this year. The refereeing's been woeful. It's been shocking at times. And we've been on the receiving end of some bad decisions. But today we can have no complaints. I personally felt like that penalty decision was right on the line. I've seen that given, but the second penalty with the handball, I started fearing, like being an Arsenal fan, it's going to go against us, whereas they've been giving those decisions all season long to every other team. So I don't think we have any complaints today. You know, sometimes you just have to say it was a good day. And I think as Arsenal fans, we've not had too many good days, and we have to give ourselves permission to enjoy a great result. That doesn't mean you're happy with where we are in the league. It doesn't mean that we're happy with our progress under Arteta so far in the league, because, you know, that has still some mileage to go. But when you look at the team in transition, what we've let go in January, the new players coming in, and the fact we made 6 changes today and beat them. And let's be honest, Jamie Vardy is a very dangerous player. And we had him in our pocket all day long. He did nothing today. So enjoy it.
Impact on this game.
Yeah.
And when he might have had an impact, Pablo Mari was. I mean, he was all over. It was beautiful. Yeah. I love this, Sophie, because you and I spar all the time. I mean, not in a negative way, but like today, I've asked this question a number of times, and I just haven't gotten to ask this from you since the game today. Mm-hmm. We've talked about how maybe in a game that we lose, Arteta can be absolved from blame because of individual errors. For example, Thursday, had we lost, it was Danny Ceballos. I mean, like Arteta didn't teach him to do those things. Mm-hmm. And I've always been afraid to say, well, I'm just going to heap the praise on Arteta for a win like this. because what if the players just decided that they were just going to get off their ass and finally do a good job? But it's hard though. Arteta took a huge risk today.
Yes.
And it seemed to have panned out. So as someone who's not convinced about Arteta, but takes every game as it comes and analyzes it appropriately and isn't biased one way or the other, do you think that the moves he made today are to be applauded, or do you think that it was just an incredible run of on performance play from the people that he put on the pitch?
Listen, you had 2 under fire players come on and boss the game against the Leicester team that has been superb this season and could have gone second, right? They're still in the top 4. Willian hasn't had a great game since Fulham. Willian also hasn't been picked for 2 months, but yet we still pick on him, right? He has now had 2 consecutive games, and today is the kind of game we expect from a player that is earning over 200K and came from Chelsea, having been a serial winner, right? Pepe, most expensive player, huge pressure on his shoulders, was doing really well, gets benched, comes on today and bosses the game and is the player that we've all dreamed of seeing and that we were expecting to see. He puts Pablo Mari next to David Luiz. He takes off, rightly so, plays Cedric instead of Bellerin. And the one decision I was disappointed with is I would have thrown Dani Ceballos back into the frying pan, even after his mistakes, instead of El Neni, because Xhaka and El Neni together, they just slow everything down. And that's when we play more sideways, backwards kind of football, right? So you have to say, yes, football's about taking risks sometimes. And I said at the beginning of the game, everyone was having a meltdown. And I said, can we just watch the game first before we start like criticizing everything? Let's just see what happens and what the result's going to be. And yes, I've been very critical of Arteta game by game based on what I see and our league position for Arsenal Football Club. It is not the league position that we want to be in. You know, we're a cup team, but we need to be more consistent in the Premier League. And I hope that now we can go on a run. Arsenal Football Club love to go on a run from March onwards. And I think for Arteta, the icing on the cake would be to go into that North London derby and get a result against that Tottenham team, who supposedly were going to win the league in December and now find themselves in a position where we could actually finish above them. And that game is fundamentally important. He's never beaten Mourinho as a player or a manager. And that, for me, will be a very a groundbreaking moment for him as Arsenal manager. So he gets tons of credit today, and he deserves it. He made some changes, and it paid off.
Well, and I love to hear you saying that. And the interesting thing is, I mean, everyone's putting their focus on the Europa League, which is really our best way back into Europe. But there is a game in 2 weeks from today against Spurs. Do you place more importance, Drago? Do you place more importance on the? I mean, can you come out of the Europa League and get through against Olympiacos, but lose against Spurs and still feel good about this team? Or do we have to beat them?
It's hard to prioritize any other game compared to Spurs. It's the derby. We don't like them. We will never like them. But objectively speaking, I think we have to prioritize the Europa League because that's our avenue to Champions League. I don't think we can make it through the league. I don't even think we can make top 6 through the league. There's just too many teams above us. It's not about the points difference. It's too many teams above us.
After today, you still feel that way? I mean, it's really not that hard to get to top 6 at this point. If we win league games, I mean, like if we go and lose against Burnley, then all of a sudden it's impossible again. But
it's not only up to us. We have to win games, but these teams above us have to drop points at the same time.
But they will. But they will. Villa's going to drop points. West Ham's going to drop points. They trust me, they're going to drop points.
But here's the thing: do we want Europa League, or even worse, next season Europa Conference League? That's the 3rd year now.
Is that really happening next year? Is that a thing?
It's officially happening this year.
Right,
yes.
so someone explain to me what that is. So, like, what is that? 7th through 9th gets that? Is that?
I don't know how the places will come up.
Because that I mean,
So fifth,
I love Israel, but I don't want to be playing football games there next season. Okay.
so fifth we go to Europa League. If some of the top 4 teams wins the FA Cup or the League Cup, then 6th and 7th could go to the Europa League. And then after those places, I gather it's gonna be the Conference League.
Oh.
Maybe 6, 7, even 8, maybe can go to Conference League.
All right. Well, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. But Rob, what happens if we lose to Burnley next week after winning? Because Arsenal tend to surprise you in every direction. They surprise you when you think that they're down, they win, which is what we had today, which is what we've had against in the past, which is what we had against Chelsea. And in the FA Cup semifinal and the final, when you think we're going to lose, we win. When you think we're going to win easily, we shit the bed. So can we keep it going and actually do to Burnley what we should do to a Tottenham just beat Burnley 4-0. Burnley's not good, but they have Ashley Barnes, who I hate, and we seem to always get in a close game against them. If we don't, what I mean, can we do this again? Are you confident again, or are you just like we'll be right back to square one next weekend?
Match by match. I mean, really, that's the way this season is going. Got to go match by match. I know if we don't do it against Burnley, I mean, social media will again become a more contentious place to be yet again. But yeah.
By the way, Rob, continue for a second. But I just got to say for David, the theme song for the Europa Conference League should just be like a chorus of people vomiting. It's like opera music in the background, but then just people vomiting, like constantly, and that will be the theme song when you step onto the pitch. All right, back to you, Rob.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking more Nickelback or Benny Hill or something like that. But
I'm always good for Benny Hill. Yakety sax is always good.
I mean, the vomiting one's a good one. But yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, the story of our Premier League season is going to be match by match. I think I'm with Drago that, the Europa League probably deserves some, some more priority in terms of us getting, a higher level of football and stuff like that. And again, so many uncertain variables in the league with us this year. Like you look at the Burnley match, for example. Burnley always physically shows up against us. There are a bunch of different variables that always influence the match. We 97th minute penalty calls, for example, that that tend to surprise, that kind of thing. So I mean, yeah, you have to take it match by match this year, and it's tough for us to do because we want to be back now. We want to win now. We're sick of getting bantered off by everyone else. We have high expectations at this club. I mean, but it really is a match by match thing.
What would you say if I said to you guys that Leicester City and West Ham will not finish in the top 4? I think Leicester are going to shit the bed again like they did last year. I don't think West Ham have the mental, as well as they've done and as impressed as I've been with the job that David Moyes has done this season.
It's unsustainable.
They've got a tough schedule coming up. I think Chelsea will probably end up in that top 4. And I actually think Liverpool might squeeze it. They might get some players back, but Mike said it's not over yet. I'm not saying we're going to finish in the top 4. I don't think that's possible. I don't think we're consistent enough to do that. Can we finish in the top 6? Maybe. But if we lose that North London derby, it's over. That's where it will be over for us. That will be, we'll be dead in the water in the league at that point. But I just think there's still another twist in the tail when it comes to top 4.
Well, and these teams, I mean, I've been tweeting to anyone that will listen to me all season that I think Everton's playing at 120% of their capacity, and ultimately it will be a regression to the mean. I've been tweeting that West Ham has had the good fortune of health, inspiration, and unity, and all it takes sometimes to break that is a loss against Manchester City, and they just had that. I've been saying that Aston Villa, look, maybe they have the best goalkeeper in the world playing for them at this point. Maybe they don't, but like these are things that we always see in the Premier League, and we always forget that like 2 or 3 teams play well above their station for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 weeks. Mm-hmm. But by the 38th week, with very few exceptions, Leicester City in 2016, and not a whole lot of
Wolves, Sheffield United. Look at what they did last season.
Sheffield United was playing incredibly, but I don't think did they finish 5th in the league or no?
No, they didn't get European football. But the point is that you get these teams that punch above their weight.
Yes,
and I think West Ham, as good as they've been, they're punching a little bit, and I think that might catch up with them.
They're punching maybe harder than I am with my wife.
Dear God.
They are. I mean, and that's the point. If they finish the season there, then great. But like, don't act like they've replaced us in the top 6. Leicester City's finished like 1st, 8th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 8th, 5th. Like, and people are ready to say that they're a top 6 team, and we're not at this point. F that, dude. I mean, there's a regression to the mean, and yes, there's always one top 6 team that's struggling in 9th, 10th, 11th place. Sometimes it's Chelsea, sometimes it's United. This year it's us. But that's not a permanent shift of power, and it shouldn't be treated as such. So, I mean, let's wait till the end of the season, because I don't think West Ham will finish in the top 7. I don't think Aston Villa. I think Aston Villa's already met its max, and they're still 7th or 8th right now. Liverpool.
Tottenham can win a trophy. They can win the League Cup. I
will never be rooting for Manchester City more than I will. And that game's supposed to be like this time of year. It's supposed to be late February, early March, and instead it's like late April. I don't know why they did that.
Because of COVID and having to shift everything, and that's what happened. And you can never underestimate Mourinho.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that history doesn't. I hope history doesn't repeat itself, because it's like this Man United thing going on right now: League Cup and Europa League. Like, let's hope the football gods do something to stop that from happening.
Well, we can't worry about everybody. All I'm saying is that when we're down, everyone wants to point about who's up. And the people that are up, it's not even a finished product of being up. I mean, no one can take away what Leicester City did in 2016. No one. And people can say we blew the championship that year because we finished second But when we beat them twice and they only lose one other game, like what else were we supposed to do? I mean,
win more games.
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, we could have won more games, but I mean, they only lost one other game besides us, and that was to Liverpool.
But I think our mistake was we didn't strengthen enough in the transfer windows. That was our mistake on our part.
Well, yeah, that was the year we only bought Czech, knowing it. I mean, 100% agree with that. But I'm just saying, like it wasn't like everyone shit the bed and we just didn't take advantage of it. Leicester had a season that just goes beyond any kind of belief, and good for them. But
we should have won the league that season.
We should have.
There's no excuses. No excuses.
Leicester City did nothing wrong that season. I mean, they stayed. No one missed a game from injury that season for them.
But after that Welbeck goal went in, Arsenal Football Club, with the pedigree that we have. I mean, and Tottenham, shame on them, the way they capitulated at Stamford Bridge that night. They had every opportunity to go on and do it, and they failed too. North London died that season in so many ways, in the sense that both had chances and we choked.
It's so funny because I lost. I finally switched off of Arsene Wenger about 3 weeks after that Valentine's Day game. I was in New York with my wife, staying at my brother-in-law's house, and we were supposed to go to O'Hanlon's to watch that Leicester game on Valentine's Day, but it was like 7 a.m, like today, and my wife was sick, so I watched it at home, and then as soon as we won, I went to the pub because I'm like, I need to celebrate with people. But like that game, we thought we were going to win it all. But then they didn't lose another game. They didn't. I don't know that they dropped
were great that season.
3 points for the rest of the season. So what are we supposed to do? And when I finally lost it for Wenger was couple weeks later, we go out in the cup to Watford. We give Rashford his debut with 2 goals against us. And then when I finally jumped off the Arsene Wenger, and then I was a lot later than a lot of people, when I finally jumped off was the Swansea game. The Swansea game after the Manchester United game, when we played at home against Swansea and we lost. I was like, this team doesn't give a shit about Arsene Wenger anymore. And I jumped. I was like, finally, you know what? I'm like, he's got to go. And then we won every single game and the FA Cup after that. But like, so that's typical Arsenal. But
and that's kind of the difficulty when you try to assess a season, is that, for example, at this point right now, most teams have 12 to 14 matches, much less. So it's more a question of just holding some sort of form and riding out the clock. Because, for example, Man City's got the league title sewn up, barring some horrible disaster. They don't need to do much more than they're doing, and they'll win it. Whereas every other team, now we're counting points against one another. And, if you're in the bottom 3, you're desperate to get out. So you're gonna, you remember that year we were supposed to be top 4 and we missed it just Emery's one season. Because even though we had winnable matches, we threw them away because all of a sudden Xhaka had a mare and somebody else had a mistake. And it was just like,
the Crystal Palace game as well is what you're thinking with Xhaka.
Yes.
Yeah, that sticks out.
I've tried to burn that memory out of my brain. I've literally tried to go with a hot poke and burn it out of my brain. But that's what happens in this period. It's as much of, you're right, teams are going to come back to the mean, but it almost doesn't matter if there's not enough game time. We can mount a great run, but if we don't have enough matches, the most we could do probably is something like 6.
Well, and
then we're counting on other teams coming back.
And that's not to excuse us for being subpar. Like, trust me, my only point is when we start comparing each other to folks, to other teams, and start like whining that we're not good enough because we're not good enough to West Ham. I'm not having that, because that's a short-term thing. We're going to get ready to wrap up. Sophie's got to leave. I do want to say, just as a general teaser, we're going to be having some exciting content coming up. The Gooners podcast will be having a lot of content coming up. I've just looked in my chat and saw that we're going to be having, if not both, at least one of the Lewin brothers, Colin or Gary, joining us soon to talk about fitness and the Arsenal. I don't want it to turn into an inquest, but we're going to talk about how how Arsenal players get to either be fit or not be fit. They're going to join us. The exact message from him, which I absolutely love, is happy to chat. Been chatting with Stu and Dicko, and they say you're a good man. So that's
awesome.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. I try to be a good person, but we're going to have some great guests on in March. You'll probably see the Gooners podcast on 4, 5, 6 times a week in March. We're going for it because we're inspired by what Sophie and the Hybrid Squad's been up to, and you might see Sophie and I collaborating a little bit in the near future too. I love you, man.
Love you guys. Thanks so much for inviting me. And Fredo, Bulgarian Gooner, Rob, you guys rock. And hopefully we'll get to football again real soon. So we won today. Come on, you Gunners.
Thanks for joining us, Soph.
Thanks, babe. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, love you.
Okay, bye.
All right. So what else can we say? I mean, I woke up at 12:30 in the morning, which is 6:30 in the morning Bulgarian time, because I measure everything on Bulgarian time, and it was a tough slog getting to today's game. I mean, I had to keep interested. I had to kind of drink a lot of Red Bull, and it all paid off, because today was a good day. And I think we're going to wrap up here. Fredo, anything else you want to say about the game? Anything else you want to say about Arsenal America, or about your own personal? I mean, this is time to get you out there, because you are one of my oldest and longest friends. You're a massive piece of why American Arsenal supporters are inclusive in the club, and that is a lot of what our content in the next couple of months will be talking about. So, Fredo.
No, well, no. I mean, it's a good win. It's always wonderful when you get those days where, hey, you start off your day, Arsenal win. It just makes you happy for the rest of the day. And since we don't have another match till next Sunday or Saturday, I'm sorry, it's going to put a pep in your step for the bulk of the week. You're just going to be happy and feeling good about it. And it's going to make listening to all the podcasts even better because, instead of hate listening, now you enjoy listening. As for Arsenal America, yeah, indeed, Jake, come on, you Gooners. We're doing our thing. We're trying to keep kind of head above ground. Not much happening right now. We're hopeful that as everything, the world reopens, we'll hopefully be able to get back out there across the pond. But stay tuned. We'll hopefully have some more good news out of that soon. Beautiful.
And Bulgarian Gooner, I muted you because you were having some feedback, and you unmuted yourself. So that's lovely. No, that's good because now's your time to. This is your debut on the pod. I got very jealous. I mean, I've known you for longer than Jess has known you, but she got you on the pod before I did. So look, my friend, it's always good to put a face with a name. Are we beating Burnley next weekend or not? One, just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. And where can we find you? What is your Twitter is not the same as your name here. So where can we find you? Because you're a great guy to interact with on Twitter. I absolutely love doing it.
So obviously I'm more quick with it when it's typing. I have time to think. English is my not first language, obviously.
English is not my first language either. You have to understand. Yiddish is I've only learned English in the last 3 years. I know it doesn't seem like that, but
so you can find her at Vardarov94, which is my surname, Vardarov with a V.
Well, dude, I can't wait. At some point, we're gonna have to talk about like Arsenal getting a Bulgarian player. Like I'm sure you have an opinion about.
We missed the Berbatov, and that was it, I think.
Berbatov might have been one of my favorite players that never played for Arsenal because of his languid style. But we'll talk about that another time. Robbie, you are my mate. You're my boy. You hang out with me at the pub. You're one of my 3 probably longest Arsenal supporter or fans. And if anyone remembers back to season 1 of the Gooners podcast, you actually hosted a version of the podcast, and we've put that in the vault forever because it absolutely sucked. But
I mean, throw away the key too, put the numbers on, double locks, But
you are a true mate, a mensch, a wonderful guy, and I'm glad that you were able to come on with us today. Mike just wants to talk about how adorable you are, and Jake wants to tell me that he taught his father how to speak English, which is, I suppose that could happen in certain situations. And Mike is, rightfully so, criticizing Jake because Jake just ends up with Rivaldo instead of Ronaldinho, and it's absolutely ridiculous. But Rob, thanks for joining us. Anything you want to say? You want to publicize anything? You want to get anything off your chest?
I just want to say
ample chest. Yeah. Your side boob,
side chest. Yeah, I mean, you beat me to it. Down, shame on you. No, I appreciate being on. Thanks for having me. Really, sincerely, it's been fun hanging out with you guys, and chatting the game and everything. On Twitter, Doomscroll FC, referring to a darker period of Arsenal Twitter history this year, but it kind of stuck, so I'm just leaving it at that. My name is asking to plug a pod.
All right, everybody, check out Not Another Arsenal podcast.
What he said.
No, it's good stuff. Look, man.
Hashtag Guatemalan.
Yeah, exactly. And they are the Squilaccio podcast. I just love this. I mean, we wouldn't have done this if we lost today. So if we lose to Burnley next week, don't be looking for this version.
We're not losing to Burnley.
No, we're not going to lose to Burnley.
I don't think so either.
So with that said, everyone, let's go watch Chelsea and Manchester United. Let's go hope that the proverbial landmine goes off and everyone just gets injuries. Even though I would never wish that on anyone, I just wish it on everyone. And look, man, let's be Gooners, all right? Let's be happy. Let's focus on. All right, never mind. All right.
You lost this. Let's be happy.
We friggin' won today, and that's all that matters. So there's no shame videos today. All I have is this, and come on, you Gooners.